Days of Our Lives spoilers October 21st. A clash of titans. Abe and Paulina's idealistic divide threatens to shatter their union. Salem, IL. In the hallowed, often treacherous halls of Salem City Hall, a battle is brewing that has nothing to do with the usual fare of corporate takeovers or masked villains. This conflict is far more personal, more profound, and for two of the town's most respected pillars, it is potentially marriage-ending. The week of October 21st on Days of Our Lives promises an emotional earthquake as Mayor Paulina Price and her husband, Commissioner Abe Carver, find themselves on a devastating collision course, not over infidelity or deception, but over the very soul of their civic duty. Spoilers indicate that what begins as a philosophical disagreement over a controversial new city initiative rapidly escalates into a raw, painful confrontation that exposes a fundamental fissure in their relationship. This isn't a simple lover's quarrel. It's a clash of ideologies, pitting Paulina's pragmatic, results-driven governance against Abe's unwavering, by-the-book moral compass. The fallout promises to send shockwaves through their personal lives and the political landscape of Salem itself. The spark, the Horton Town Square redevelopment project. The catalyst for this domestic crisis is Paulina's ambitious and ethically murky Horton Town Square redevelopment project. Conceived as a legacy piece to revitalize a historic but flagging part of the city, the project involves seizing several small, family-owned businesses through eminent domain to make way for a glossy, high-end retail and apartment complex, funded in part by a shadowy, out-of-town development corporation. For Paulina, this is a non-negotiable necessity for Salem's future. She sees decaying buildings and a drain on the city's tax base. An insider close to the mayor's office reveals she's envisioning a vibrant, modern plaza that will attract new business and put Salem on the map. In her mind, the ends, economic prosperity, a lasting legacy, justify the means. She's bulldozing ahead, both literally and figuratively. The problem? The means are where Abe Carver draws the line. As commissioner, with a career built on integrity and service, he sees the human cost. He sees Mrs. Higgins, who has run her tiny flower shop for 40 years, being forced out. He sees the legacy of Tom and Alice Horton being paved over for a chain coffee shop. To Abe, this isn't progress. It's a betrayal of the very people they have sworn to serve. The confrontation. Ideals collide in the commissioner's office. The spoilers for October 21st pinpoint the moment the simmering tension boils over. Abe, unable to stand by silently, confronts Paulina in his office at the police station. A deliberate choice of venue that underscores this is an official, not just a marital, dispute. Paulina, this has to stop, Abe will say, his voice a low, tense rumble of disappointment. The Evans family received their eviction notice yesterday. They've been in that building for 3 generations. This isn't governing, it's tyranny. Paulina, ever the political warrior, is expected to fire back with pragmatic fury. It's progress, Abe. That building is a relic. My project will bring hundreds of jobs, millions in revenue. You can't build a future by clinging to the past. Someone has to make the tough decisions. This is the core of their conflict. Paulina's tough decisions are, in Abe's eyes, a moral compromise he cannot abide. Sources indicate the argument will quickly spiral from the specific policy to the personal, touching on the very foundations of their character. Is this the same woman who fought for the little guy? Abe will challenge, his eyes filled with a painful blend of love and disillusionment. The Paulina I fell in love with would be leading the protest against this project, not signing the eviction orders. Paulina's retort is expected to be equally cutting, questioning the utility of Abe's idealism in the real world. And the Abe I married understood that to do real good, you sometimes have to get your hands dirty. Your high horse doesn't put food on the tables of the unemployed, Abe. My project does. The use of the Paulina I fell in love with and the Abe I married is a classic, heartbreaking technique, signaling that the argument is no longer about city planning, but about who they have become, and whether those people can still coexist. The fallout. A house divided. The aftermath of this confrontation is where the true damage is done. Spoilers suggest that Abe, in a move that shocks both Paulina and his own staff, will publicly oppose the mayor's project. He may even lend his support to the small business coalition forming to fight the evictions, a direct and humiliating act of political defiance against his own wife. This creates an untenable situation. At home, the Price Carver residence, once a sanctuary of late-night talks and shared dreams, becomes a frozen tundra. Meals are eaten in silence. The guest bedroom sees more use than the master suite. The love is still there, palpable and aching, but it is being suffocated by a thick layer of resentment and disappointment. This is worse than if one of them had an affair. A family friend confides. An affair is a clear villain, a clean break. This is two good people, both believing they are right, watching their shared life crumble over a point of principle. There's no one to blame, and yet they blame each other completely. The ripple effects extend to their daughter, Lonnie Price, who is caught in an impossible loyalty bind. Having inherited both her mother's fire and her father's moral clarity, she is torn, understanding both perspectives, but heartbroken by the schism. Her attempts to mediate only seem to highlight the irreconcilable nature of the dispute. A deeper legacy, the ghost of Lexi Carver. For longtime viewers, the specter of Abe's first wife, the beloved Lexi Carver, hangs over this conflict. Lexi was Abe's moral and emotional counterpart, a woman whose kindness and integrity were beyond reproach. In his clash with Paulina, it's impossible not to wonder if Abe is subconsciously measuring her against Lexi's unimpeachable character. Paulina, with her fiery, sometimes ruthless ambition, is the antithesis of Lexi's gentle grace. While Abe fell in love with Paulina for her strength and passion, he is now facing the dark side of those very traits. This unspoken comparison adds a layer of profound insecurity and history to the conflict, making Abe's stance feel even more rigid and Paulina's actions more desperate to prove her worth. What comes next? A path to reconciliation or ruin? As the week of October 21st unfolds, the question on every Salemite's mind is, can this marriage be saved? The path to reconciliation is narrow and fraught. It would require a monumental compromise from both parties. Paulina would have to find a way to achieve her vision without destroying the livelihoods of her constituents, perhaps by integrating the existing businesses into the new development or finding them new, viable locations. She would have to rediscover the empathy that her quest for a legacy has overshadowed. Abe, for his part, would need to acknowledge the real pressures of Paulina's office and move from pure opposition to constructive partnership. He would have to find a way to uphold his morals without making his wife the enemy. However, if neither bends, the outcome looks dire. A separation seems not just possible, but probable. Such a split would not only be a personal tragedy for two beloved characters, but would also create a power vacuum and political chaos in Salem, opening the door for less scrupulous players to seize influence. The clash between Abe and Paulina is more than just a spoiler. It is a masterfully written exploration of how love fares when tested by core values. It asks whether a relationship built on shared passion can survive a fundamental disagreement on principle. In the end, the fate of Salem's Horton Town Square may be insignificant compared to the fate of a marriage standing on the brink of collapse. Tune in to Days of Our Lives this October 21st to witness a battle where there are no villains, only two wounded hearts, and no easy answers in sight.